Welcome back, Joyful Wife. Thanks for joining me again. We're still in Module 1, and in our last video, we covered my laundry story and how we discovered we weren't actually fighting about laundry. We were fighting about something much deeper. Well, today I want to help you to understand what that means so you can start identifying the pattern in your marriage. We're going to break down the difference between surface issues and root issues, and I promise this will bring so much clarity to those recurring arguments that you've been having. So let's start with surface issues. What are they? They're the visible problems, the things you can point to and say, see, this is what is wrong. Surface issues are things like household chores and who does what, money and spending decisions, being late or time management, how often you're intimate, technology and phone usage, parenting decisions, extended family situations. Now, I want to be super clear that these issues are real and they really do matter. I'm not saying they're not important. The dishes really do need to be done. The budget really does matter. And also being on time is considerate. But here's what I've discovered. You can solve the dish problem and find yourself arguing about laundry next week. You can create a budget and then fight about something completely different. You can agree on a schedule and still end up frustrated about something else entirely different. Why? Because you haven't addressed what is driving that frustration in the first place. So, what are root issues? Root issues are the deeper emotional needs underneath the surface problems. They're about our fundamental human needs that God created us with. The need to feel loved and cherished. Do I matter to you? The need to feel respected and valued. Do you see my worth? The need to feel secure and safe. Can I trust you with my heart? The need to feel understood and heard. Do you really see me? The need to feel appreciated and recognized. Do you notice what I contribute? And the need to feel partnered and supported. Are we in this together? When these deeper needs aren't being met, we'll find anything to argue about. Our hearts are trying to get these needs satisfied, but we really don't know how to ask for them directly. So instead of saying, I really need to feel appreciated, we argue about dishes. Instead of saying, I need to feel like we're partners, we argue about time management or budget. Instead of saying, I need to feel valued, we get really upset about laundry. So let me give you some examples of how this plays out in real life. The surface issue, he never helps with dinner cleanup. The root issue is, I need to feel like we're partners sharing this life together. And what you're really asking for is, I need to feel valued and supported. Another surface issue is he's always on his phone during family time. The root issue is, I need to feel prioritized and important to him. And what you're really asking for is, I need to feel like I matter more than your phone, more than distractions, more than memes, more than games. Another surface issue is, we never have enough money for things I want to do. The root issue may be, I need to feel secure and like my needs matter too. And what you're really asking for is, I need to feel heard in our decisions. Another common surface issue is, he doesn't initiate sex or intimacy. The root issue, I need to feel desired and pursued. But what you're really asking for is, I need to feel beautiful and wanted. Do you see the pattern? The surface issue is what you argue about, but the root issue is what we really want. So why don't we just ask for what we really need? Well, there are a few reasons. First, surface issues feel safer. It's easier to argue about concrete things, like it's easier to argue about concrete things than to feel vulnerable about our deep needs. Saying you never help with the dishes feels less risky than saying, I feel like my contributions to this family don't matter. Secondly, we don't always know how to name that deeper need. Many of us aren't taught to identify and express our emotional needs. We know something feels wrong, but we just can't put our finger on exactly what it is. Thirdly, we genuinely think fixing the surface will fix that feeling. We believe that if he would just do the dishes, we would feel better. And temporarily, we might, but the underlying need for appreciation or partnership is still there. It's just waiting to be triggered by something else. And lastly, root issues feel big and scary. Surface issues have that practical solution, like you know what you can do about it. You can make a chore chart, you can make a budget, you can leave 5 minutes earlier. But root issues are about the relationship itself, which feels more vulnerable to address. But here's where breakthrough happens. The next time you're feeling yourself getting frustrated about a surface issue, I want you to pause. There is power in a pause and ask yourself, what am I really asking for here? Not what do I want him to do, but what do I need to feel in this relationship? Do I need to feel valued and appreciated? Do I need to feel heard and understood? Do I need to feel like we're partners working together? Do I need to feel secure and prioritized? Do I need to feel respected and honored? When you can identify that root need, you can address it directly instead of fighting about the dishes for the next 5 years. I also want to say that when I learned what my needs were, I could see where my husband would start getting triggered, and I could help him to see what he was looking for. He would get very triggered when somebody disrespected him. And disrespect, there's a wide variety. I'm not talking about name calling or cussing or anything. It was just maybe something my son would say, or he would disagree with him, and immediately would trigger my husband because he felt like he needed to have that respect and to feel honored. Which then, when we learned that that was what my husband was asking for, I could address it with my son and say, hey, look, we just want to make sure that we honor dad when we have our own opinion as well. Do you mind saying it differently so that way dad can understand what it is that you're saying? So when you start addressing root issues instead of just the surface issues, beautiful things happen. Your arguments become shorter because you're actually solving the problem, not just the symptom. The solutions last longer. When the root need is met, you don't keep finding new things to fight about, and you feel more connected. Your husband finally understands or hears what you really need. Intimacy increases because vulnerable communication about real needs creates a closeness and a connection between you two. You stop feeling crazy. You're not overreacting. You have legitimate needs. But sometimes when we don't know how to put a finger on what it is that we need, we do overreact because it's like we're going in circles because we don't really know what we're asking for, but we expect our husband to know. And then he doesn't know. So then it just is back and forth. So for this module, I want you to practice catching yourself when you feel frustrated about a surface issue. Before you bring it up, ask yourself 3 questions. What is the surface issue? So what am I upset about? What is the root issue? What do I really need to feel? And how can I communicate that root need? What would it sound like if I was really asking for what I need? Just remember, your husband is not a mind reader, and he genuinely might not know that the dishes represent appreciation to you, or that being late makes you feel unimportant. But when you can communicate what that real need is, he finally has something that he can address. So in our next video, we're going to talk about the stories that we tell ourselves and how those stories create dirty pain that we really don't have to carry. I will see you in the next video, Joyful Wife.